I saw a clip of Charlie, and it totally made me realize that religion is actually a realistic, logical answer. And I never thought logic would ever be brought into religion ever in my life. And
Jordan
I don't
Peterson
know if
did that for me.
he's like, well, honestly, if you think about evil, and there is morally good and morally evil, and there is logically good and logically evil, then obviously you believe that Jesus Christ or any religious figure is possible. Because without morally good and religion, then there is no morally evil and people can just do whatever they want because then there's nothing backing your morality. And I'm like, God damn it. Somebody fucking explain religion in a way that I could genuinely understand.
That
And it's just like,
it's been that way for a long before Charlie Kirk got popular. That was already what people were saying.
I've
That's
never
been a
heard it explained that way ever.
that's been a big talking point for a long time. I'm glad you found it. I'm saying that is not a new concept. That is like the big anti-atheist pushback of just like, then what do you believe in? If you have no guidance towards morality, then you can justify any of your actions.
Exactly. And it's just like, that is such a
That's
that's the most
2014
logical point.
Sargon of Akkad shit.
Well, motherfucker, my internet was shut off so much during my fucking high school years. I had internet half the
That's fair.
time. Like that, I can't control that. It just is what it is. But like the fact that that made so much sense, it was like, oh my God, that's logical. Fuck. Religion just became logical. Now I have to fucking explore and understand at least a little bit to make it
And
somewhat.
again, Jordan Peterson already did that for me a long time ago. When like, if you detach the mythical aspects of it, whether or not you believe, even though I am saved, you have to really embrace the love of Jesus Christ. And I'm not trying to be like, oh, from that I have my faith, especially now more than ever. Like it just keeps growing more and more, and that's when you realize how correct it is to have that. But when you like if you detach it from that, you just go to the allegories and the principles of it. It's like this just makes sense. Where it's like, yeah, sure, these things they sound preposterous, and there's no example in history of these things actually happening. But if you distill a story down and then you extract the morality from it or the words, and then like you use that in yourself, it makes you a better person. And by rejecting that entirely because you're just like God ain't real, well, now you are just casting out humanity and morality, and then in that void comes the evil, and that's what the Bible warns us about. You let the
And it
demons
seems
in by rejecting the story itself.
like almost as I was more willing and willing and willing to understand and think that it's possible,
And see, isn't that the crazy shit? When you
my
understand that
life has
possibility,
gotten
you
better.
you literally feel the love of Jesus enter you. When you cast out that
Like
evil, or you open just even the possibility to him, and then a spiritual power comes in. You're just like, wait, what the fuck? This is real.
even when Tate started getting big and I was like, okay, Islam might be the answer. Or when I started talking to Wendigoon and was like trying to understand all the different like nuances in between them. Like
I do
life
struggle with
got
Shintoism because
better.
Shintoism is cool as fuck, but is directly against Christianity.
Like that's the weirdest part to me is like as I started believing even slightly or even questioned slightly, all of a sudden life made sense. And I don't expect life to make sense. Why
Hmm.
is life getting better as I start believing openly in something at all? That doesn't make sense. That's
Because
not
God's love
logical.
found you, and it just works somehow.
You know what I'm saying? Like, even being atheist or agnostic at any point, I would tell myself that I'm a fucking idiot
Yeah, it just makes you a
in high
miserable
school.
loser. Wow, who would have guessed? You have no morals, you have no commandments to live by, you bear false witness to yourself every day, and then you don't have any fulfillment in your life, and then you just become an evil, miserable commie, like we've seen the left be for over a decade. It all explains itself.
But it's so weird. You know what I'm saying? Like, life genuinely does get better. And, like, I don't think anybody
Because
really thinks that.
again, the power of the stories, because the stories dial into the essence of what it is to be a human, and that's why I love Jordan Peterson explaining that to me so many years ago. Like the way he breaks it down, where I don't remember which video it was or like which series of videos or lectures I watched, where just like This perfectly explains it by even removing the element of faith in God into it. And you're just like, oh, even if you just go by the ideas, you're going to feel infinitely better as a human to understand what it is to be human and not let the even metaphorical demons in. Don't let the metaphorical demons in. That is why you feel bad, because you are infested with the bad of being a person. That whatever darkness is inside what it means to be a human, that's the demon. Real or fake, real or metaphorical. You do not give them any power. And that's like, oh shit, I feel great now. Huh, who would have guessed?
And it's like, okay, so if you're going to believe all of these things are bad, when you look at religion, like, oh my God, they came out against Harry Potter, or oh my God, they came out against Pokemon. It's like, okay, that's bad actors.
Yeah,
Let's be
exactly.
honest about it.
That's radical evangelicism or whatever.
But so many people want to use that as a reason why they don't believe or why they don't want to think about something. Or, okay, no,
Yeah, then you're just
it's not.
excusing the demons.
It's not
Like you're
face value stuff.
yeah.
None of it's face value. It's all metaphorical. It's all thought provoking and everything else. Yes, some of the things they say are fucking asinine, but when you put it in the context of what the world was at that point, it makes more sense. But nobody wants to fully
But
understand.
actually, if you take it into the context of the world at that time, they were just doing what we're doing now. They were the patient zero of fear because they didn't know what it was. They were blaming everything. They were blaming everything just out of fear because they knew this is where we were headed. We gotta actually give them more credit because it's like, is Pokemon going to turn everyone evil? It actually has. Shit. If we go back to like the Magic the Gathering scare and all like Dungeons and Dragons being evil, it turns out citing demonic references and like bad things in the Bible pollutes you just a little bit. And now these D&D communities, they've gone woke. They've gone into these toxic ideologies. Pokemon is fucking lost. Pokemon's just hate and evil now, and all of these other ideologies using that as a justification for its pollution. So it's like, huh, it could have just been if you throw a million darts, you're going to hit something. But it seems like with these things, they were actually correct 30 years in advance. They didn't know why. They just were. Because we were already... No, you know what? Communism, we're not going to put you in jail for that anymore. Oh, all these other things, like, yeah, we have freedom of speech, burn the flag, why not? It's like, no. We something went wrong, someone caught onto it, and now we're correcting. But they actually weren't that far off, if you really think about it.
Well, when you're vague enough and you swing enough swords, you hit something.
Yet they still... But the big ones were Magic the Gathering, witches, Pokemon, and they found all of them.
And the internet. And the internet's fucked us up more than
I'm gonna say, like, were they wrong? Actually, if you look at it, they were right more than they were wrong. This is like 70% accuracy if you go back in time. Hindsight's 2020.
Oh,
it's not that Pokemon is evil, it's what Pokemon does to people who are corrupted to make them more evil.
Well, and I think that that's more of the explanation of what we're looking at now with them re-examining video games and violent video games to what it does to people and stuff like that. I don't think that it's, this all being evil's fucking thing that causes you to be corrupted. I think that you numbing yourself to something that is innately evil, like killing or like, these nuances and stuff like that can genuinely affect you. Like, obviously, there's overlap with people Googling serial killers and becoming problems, or listening to true crime podcasts and saying, herder, I'm your wife, and guess what? If I wanted to, they wouldn't know where to find the body. And saying shit like that, like, that's not okay.
Yeah, exposing yourself to negativity is not good for your psychology. Who would have guessed? Even if it's through like a lens, even if it's masked, like, oh, this is simulated war. Oh, this is just a story about a killing. Oh, this is a fictional drama about murder. It's still an exposure. Like, it's obfuscated. There's a little bit of a lens. But you can't process that as a person.
Like, do I think that, you playing a video game is different than you watching a movie? I think the movie genuinely probably impacts you more. I'm going to be honest, because I think that...
Video games roleplay, though.
Yeah, but you're also seeing it like it's not. okay, Battlefield might be realistic, or at least pseudo
But it's also
realistic.
tactile. Like, you are the one putting in the action. You're not watching the screen of someone else being directed into the action.
Yeah, but watching Active Valor seems definitely more fucked up than shooting Beavis and Butthead on Call of Duty.
I disagree. I think if we go past like into that psychological lens, like yeah, objectively, like physically, yeah, you're going like you don't want the exposure to what is in active valor, but simulating yourself into the action of it, even if it does have like some kind of dilution through like, oh, they don't actually explode into a super realistic gory mess of exactly how war plays out. That simulation is still a more role-playing act of higher impact into your psyche.
And I don't disagree. I think that all of it definitely has an impact on you. So like I don't agree with violent video games creates innate violence always. I don't think that that's correct. Do
Bro,
I
I'm
think that it
starting to
has
believe it
some?
though.
Do I think that there's some impact? Yeah, I kind of do.
Because like again, now we have to like dial in the evil aspect of it. Where did most of the doxers come from? The shooter community. So yeah, it didn't turn them into killers, it turned them into sociopaths. Not too far off.
It turned people into not giving a fuck about the human that's behind the other side of the screen. Crazy. The same
Mhm.
exact fucking thought process that I've said this entire time.
Yeah. So what I'm getting at is like, okay, yeah, so playing a violent video game doesn't turn you into a shooter, but turns you into a narcissistic sociopath. It's still bad. And I think that means so like yeah, making the crazy Christianity cry like think of the children outcry about it. Not a good look, but there's like 70% right on it. It's not going to turn you into a school shooter, but it's going to give you all the like half the traits of one, and it's just going to make you a shitty person to everyone else in life. You're going to dehumanize in one way or another, and it's because of the violent video games, and they're actually just correct.
Yeah,
You're not seeing this from
seemed
Minecraft?
no, you're seeing different mental health issues from Minecraft, and that's where I was about to go. Like it seems like if you have a mental facility issue or a mental health issue, all of the things that are around you, whether it's Minecraft, whether it's Call of Duty, whether it's Pokemon, no matter what thing you're fucking with that people have pointed to as a problem in some way or some fashion is just a multiplier on those mental health issues. It's just a multiplier. Like if you're a normal 100% fantastic human, you playing Call of Duty every day might not impact you in the long term. But if you have any slight mental problem or any slight personality issue, it fucking multiplies it because it dehumanizes fucking everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what they were trying to explain, and they absolutely weren't able to.
But this already existed back in the past. Like, I think that's another thing. A problem with like Zoomer culture, especially, is like they actually don't believe the world existed before they existed. They cannot understand or comprehend anything that came before them. At least with like millennials and '90s kids, we understand the '70s, we understand the '80s. So like, it's one of those things where you hear about a serial killer, they saw too many bad news stories, and then they just went crazy, or they had an obsession with a movie actress, and then that just cycled into some kind of pollution within them. So I don't think it's that different. It's on a larger scale because of accessibility, but it's always happened for all kinds of media.
Well, and I think that there's a difference too.
Why is it
Like,
that I turn on and I'm actually like cognizant during the end part of the podcast making the best points? Just split this into 2 episodes and we don't have to record for 2 weeks.
I think that we've kind of explored something that a lot of people genuinely don't understand, and I think a lot of 90 kids felt this.
Like
No,
the half after Charlie Kirk needs to be its own episode because it's the most important shit and it's at the end, and I don't like that from a retention standpoint. I'm being 100% serious.
so when you look back at your childhood, I think that a lot of kids had this point. Did you imagine the 50s and 60s and even the 1920s and stuff as everything was actually black and white? Because that's what you saw footage wise of it or pictures of it. It was all black and white. So you're like, oh, fuck. Wait, no, it was color because that's how life
Well, like
is.
I knew it was in color, but I couldn't see it in color.
And you didn't realize that there was
And
actual
also,
color.
technically, in 1920s was all Dust Bowl, so everything was just sepia tone.
Yeah, sepia tone, not black and white. But how many pictures were just black and white shit of like, oh, this is New York City. New York City's colorful. It's gray in colors.
Did they have saturation back then, though? I'm pretty sure everything was just brick.
I don't know, but those lights and those screens and everything.
We didn't have neon lights, and we didn't have movies and screens. So it's not like their ads weren't even bright and colorful. It would just be like some projection of a black and white screen. So like the thing is, the technology didn't even exist to create color back then. So it's harder to imagine how color existed.
But you see what I'm saying? Like, so when you think of being like a Zoomer now, how hard is it to imagine a life that is different from what you're living? Like how they can't imagine a life without a fucking iPad.
But what I'm
They
saying is,
can't
I can imagine the life at least immediately before me. I understand the 60s, 70s, and 80s very well. They can't even understand the 90s.
because I think not only culture, but like the way tech has gone and the way life has gone and everything else is so drastically fucking different that it is genuinely hard to imagine what that is.
Nah, I think they're just cooked from, like, yeah, like the internet has made them cooked in that way, but it is a rotten generation. Like, it's just different. It's not like some kind of similar thing like, oh, but if we were in this position, I think they already got, like, propagandized. And their millennial or Gen X parents that were also getting cooked by all the politicization going on also ruined them. It's like they didn't stand a chance, but it doesn't seem that hard. It's not difficult to understand the 90s, to understand the 80s if you were born in the 2000s. It shouldn't be. It's not that big of a difference.
Oh, and definitely it was able to be done. My kids understand the jokes and
I mean,
everything
we grew up
else
with
of-
Star Wars, so like we understood how to back down, or not we, but like even before all this technology stuff, technology was still represented in fiction, and we can still unwind from that.
You know, I think also a lot of the weirdness that a lot of people genuinely don't understand with Zoomers looking back is like when we imagine the 2050s, we imagine things like the Jetsons and flying cars and all of this like utopic shit. So like if they go back and look at what our future predictions were, it absolutely is meaningless because like, oh, we're not anywhere close to there, but we're so far close to where we should have been that it's kind of hard for them to realize the difference. Like
They don't
obviously
try. The problem is they have no soul. They don't try to care. They don't care about anything. They don't care about others. They've just been washed into being nothing through all the propaganda systems.
yeah, and I think that there's so much
But
it
if they
seems like
tried,
50 it seems like 50% of their generation absolutely has no fucking chance to get fucking anything or any possibility of any of it making any bit of sense
yeah.
at all.
And I don't blame
And
that
then
on
there's
technology existing. I blame that on the consumption of technology because if they tried, if they like, they don't try to learn history. We can go like even growing up in the 90s, we learned about history. We can still understand what happened in the Roman Empire. Zoomers don't even want to learn. They don't want to learn about any history anywhere at any time 10 years ago or 10,000 years ago. They don't give a fuck. And that's the problem. That's why I'm so spiteful of it.
yeah, it seems like there's 30% on top of that 50% who could get it and absolutely choose not
Yeah.
to.
It's a choice to be a Zoomer.
And then there's 20% like my kids who openly, genuinely try and understand or will ask questions or will like figure it all out. And they're the ones sort of leading the pack. But goddamn, there are a whole bunch of knuckle draggers at this point where it's just like, what the fuck genuinely is wrong with these people? Because there's so much fuck